Hello everyone. What I'd like to show you in this video, something great about the 6 trig functions, is that if I know one of the trig functions, then I actually know all of them, or I can find all of them. So let's do an example. Let's just make something up. Let's say, let's say that we know that how about the cosecant of an angle is, how about 7/6, for example. Now, generally I don't like working with secant, cosecant, and cotangent, so what I'll usually always try to do is write this in terms of sine. So remember that cosecant and sine are actually reciprocals of one another. So if cosecant of theta is 7/6, and cosecant and sine are reciprocals of one another, this must mean that sine of theta is equal to 6/7. So what we're going to remember here, so I guess I've already found one of the 5 I need to find. So what I'll remember here is so ka toa. So since sine is the same thing as sine is opposite over hypotenuse, I can go ahead and draw a triangle. So if I draw a triangle here, this will be theta. I know its opposite side is 6, and I know its hypotenuse is 7. So the last thing we just need to do to get all of the trig functions is figure out what the length of the adjacent side is. Let's go ahead and call that A. So we'll use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out what A is. So the Pythagorean theorem will say that the hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the square of the legs, so that'll be equal to 6 squared minus A squared. Sorry, plus A squared. So that means that A squared is going to be equal to 7 squared minus 6 squared if I subtract 6 squared from both sides. Okay. So we have A squared, what will that be? 49 minus 36, or we'll have that A squared is equal to 13. Taking the square root of both sides, A will be equal to the square root of 13. So this is our triangle. So from here, we can find all the others. Okay, let's go ahead and find cosine. Maybe I'll move some of this over. So we already knew that cosecant of theta was 7/6. So we know that sine of theta is 6/7. Let's go ahead and find, let's find cosine. So cosine of theta. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that would be root 13 over 7. And since I know what cosine of theta is, I can easily find its reciprocal. The reciprocal of cosine is secant. So secant of theta will be the reciprocal, 7 over root 13. Now it's very common, pretty much every trig textbook I've read, they always want to rationalize the denominator. So I will multiply top and bottom by root 13. I'm just cleverly multiplying by 1, the first best trick in the math book. So this will be the same thing as 7 times root 13 over 13. Okay, let's go ahead and find tangent. So tangent of theta. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So tangent will be 6 over root 13. Again, we will rationalize the denominator. Root 13 over root 13. So this will be 6 times root 13 over 13. So the last one we need to find is cotangent of theta. And just so I don't have to rationalize the denominator, tangent of theta is the same as 6 over root 13, so cotangent of theta will be root 13 over 6. So we have the value of our 6 trig functions. Hope you find that helpful. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.